Hey everyone, it's scarf weather. It's scarf weather because it's cold and also because I'm trying to look less jowly. Filler is not an essential service. Probably a good thing on lockdown, but I wish it was. And the reason I use filler and Botox isn't because I want to look younger, it's because I don't like looking sad. I get to, when I wake up in the morning and this has happened, I don't need to talk myself into the happiness of the day. But this weekend, didn't everyone go crazy? There was so much more grumpiness, and you'd have thought there'd be less because we can go out and run around in the streets. And yet it seemed to me that there was so much more pain and so much more emotion, and everyone was very much more het up this weekend. And I thought that was quite odd. And then I thought maybe it's only odd to me because I know how I'm dealing with things right now. I know I have huge trust issues, I always have had, and so when government makes one decision and then makes another, obviously that's a wobble for me. But I also know how I deal with crises in my life as they come, and I think that has a lot to do with having had to stop drinking. And learning how to deal with things without being able to use alcohol to deal with them. So one of the things that I do when I am starting to feel frenetic and anxious is I read. And I've got a series of books. I read thrillers and sort of detective fiction when I just want an escape. So at the moment I'm rereading the John D. MacDonald books. And if you haven't read them, you're in for such a treat. A lot of them are available on Kindle, because I'm not sure how many books we can get at the moment, a hard copy, but it doesn't matter. And you can also get them on Audible, and they're brilliant on Audible. And they're about a salvage consultant called Travis McGee. He lives aboard a boat called the Busted Flush, and whatever you've lost or has gone missing, he will get it back for you, but take 50%. So those are the ones I read when I kind of just want to chill. And what I was wondering is, if you have been one of those people who over the weekend has been sort of vibrating on that very high frequency, and maybe you've been a bit more annoyed than you normally are, or maybe the stuff that you're reading and seeing has upset you more than it usually does. This isn't the first time you've been anxious and upset. It's the first time it's been this, but it's not the first time any of us have been anxious or upset, and we've got through it before. So the reason I talk about my reading is because that really helps me, but what really helps you? What do you do when you are feeling anxious and upset? And yeah, a glass of wine or a cigarette will take the edge off, but I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about when you were really stressed in your life or really pressured, and maybe it was school, maybe it was university, maybe it was final exams, or maybe it was a job interview, or maybe you were going through stuff in your marriage, or maybe birth of a baby. Whatever it was, what was it that got you through? What was your unique package of your internal Calmettes, as it were? Because that I think we need to be accessing now, certainly more than I can remember, more than anything I think that's ever happened in my life so far. I mean, my kids were joking the other day. They were saying, more, we're going to be the first people who've lived through a pandemic since whatever it was. And I kind of thought, sure, that's because I don't think we ever really felt SARS or H1N1 here the way they did overseas. So think to yourself, what is it that got me through that tough time? Who did I phone? So for me, I tend to shut down. I don't ask for help. I'm bad at it. And I go into myself. But I know for some people it's about picking up the phone. So who did you call in that moment? Who did you speak to? Did you write a journal? Did you write stuff down? Did you read it later and kind of roll your eyes or feel better about it? Did you watch a TV program? Did you pray? And whatever it was you did in those moments, think about doing that now. It's going to be a crazy week. I mean, every week is a crazy week, but now we've got court challenges, and we're with more testing, obviously more cases are coming to the fore, and those numbers are scary. I mean, we know we can only look at them as a trend, but when you see these huge numbers every day, they can get quite scary. So the other book I'm going to recommend, which you can also get on Kindle, and you can also get the Audible, the audio book, this was written by Admiral William H. McRaven. He is retired US Navy general, and the book's called Make Your Bed, Little Things That Can Change Your Life and Maybe the World. And he says, when you make your bed, you've already accomplished your first task of the day. You've done something that you knew how to do. You've done it well. It gives you a sense of pride, and it encourages you to do something more. And when you've done lots of little tasks, you can look at the big ones. And what he says is, if you can't do the little things right, you will never do the big things right. I'm not sure how much we missed there. Just to recap, he says, if you can't do the little things right, you will never do the big things right. So maybe that can be where, for people who aren't actually sure where they can pull themselves up, for people who've done a deep dive with the Black Dog, maybe start with something like that. But that is also an awesome book. And then my final favorite, I got all these before lockdown, and this is what I'm doing now. It's called How to Disappear. Notes on, I can see I haven't got the mirror screen on. Notes on Invisibility in a Time of Transparency. It's by Akiko Bush. And it's really cool. She talks about how in a world where everyone knows everything we're doing, how to disappear. And she talks about, finding yourself maybe in the garden or in a forest. Yes, I know we can't go to the forest, just bear with me. And how to kind of live off the social grid in as much as you want to. That sometimes you've given away more than you meant to. And it's a very peaceful book. And it's a thoughtful read. John D. MacDonald and Stephen King, those are packet of Chuckles and a Coke, if you can find Chuckles. Anyone who knows where Red Chuckles are in Joburg, please, hands up. Send me letters. Give me locations. But this is Akiko's book is a much more thoughtful read. And I have found it very, very calming. So I hope some of this helps. Inbox me if you've read anything really calming. Inbox me if you have anything else you'd like me to talk about or anything else you'd like to say, or if you'd like those book titles and I spoke too fast and you can't rewatch the video. I hope you have a good week. Be kind to yourself. I've said this before, I can't believe I quote Jerry Springer, but take care of yourselves and each other. Have a lovely week.